Welcome to a meeting of your Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners. Representing District 1, Harry Cohen. Representing District 2, Ken Hagan. Representing District 3, Gwen Myers. Representing District 4, Michael Owen. Representing District 5, Donna Cameron Cepeda. Representing District 6, Pat Kemp. Representing District 7, Joshua Wostel. The County Administrator is Bonnie Wise. The County Attorney is Christine Beck. Time is set aside at the beginning of each meeting for citizens to speak on any issue. So we have time for everyone. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Today's meeting is brought to you with closed captioning by Hillsborough Television.
Good morning. Welcome to the December 7th meeting of the Hillsborough Board of County Commissioners. Would everyone please rise for the pledge and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heavenly Father, mighty God, we thank you, Lord God, for your great love for the people of Hillsborough County, mighty God. We ask you, Lord, for your protection over all the people here in this county. We ask you for your protection over MacDill Air Force Base, mighty God, our military men and women that are serving, Lord, here and throughout the world, Heavenly Father. And Lord, we just thank you for your great love for your people. We ask you for wisdom, Lord, here for the Board of County Commissioners, Lord, and all those working for the county, mighty God, that we will be a blessing, Lord, to your people throughout this county. And Heavenly Father, we pray for unity, Lord, in this county, Lord, as we just pledged that we will be united, Lord God, and not divided. And Lord, we just thank you for using us to be a blessing, mighty God, for your people here, everyone in Hillsborough County, mighty God. And we just thank you, and we bless the people of Hillsborough County, and we thank you, Heavenly Father. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Now we typically have proclamations and commendations, but I think for the first time ever, we don't have any today. So I'll make the meeting go much quicker. So with that, Bonnie, I'll hand it over to you if you can review any changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. We have one item that is deferred to January 19th. This is item A14. This is to accept the 2022 Jane K. Platt Environmental Lands Acquisition and Protection Program Annual Report. We have A72A, which is a BOCC appointment to the Affordable Housing Advisory Board that is deferred to a date to be determined. We have one revision to the agenda, item F2. It is Commissioner Owen's item, and it is a 10:30 time certain. It is to direct staff to, one, research the number of businesses operating in Hillsborough County that sell vaping devices or products within 500 feet of an elementary, middle, or high school, and the part that is added is, and two, other jurisdictions that have regulated vaping businesses near schools and any impacts of those regulations. We have one item that has been removed from consent for highlighting by Commissioner Wostel is item A16, which is to direct the County Attorney's Office to dismiss the appeal in the case of the Hillsborough County versus Karen DeRoche. We have several items for time certain. First one is item D1, 10 o'clock. This is a public hearing to accept comments on the program year 2021 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, which is known as the CAPER. Item D2 at 10 o'clock is to conduct a public hearing and consider adopting a resolution stating the Board of County Commissioners' intent to use the uniform method of collecting non-ad valorem assessments pursuant to Florida law to collect the non-ad valorem assessments previously levied and not prepaid in the Dana Shores, Pelican Island, at Rocky Point Electric Subdivision Facilities Underground Special Assessment Area. Item D3 at 10 o'clock is to conduct a public hearing for street lighting districts and adopt the resolution for annexation and modifications of residential street lighting service areas to the Hillsborough County Consolidated Street Lighting Special Purpose District for the 2023 tax year. Item F1 is Commissioner Owens' item at 10:15 is to approve the renaming Conference Room 301 on the third floor of the Office of the State Attorney 13th Judicial Circuit in honor of Michael Sinacore, who served as state attorney for the 13th Judicial Circuit for 19 years in a variety of roles. Item F2 at 10:30, also by Commissioner Owen, is to direct staff to research the number of businesses operating in Hillsborough County that sell vaping devices within 500 feet of schools, and 2 other jurisdictions that have regulated vaping businesses near schools and any impacts of those regulations. 11:45 is a recess for lunch. Those are the changes to the agenda.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the changes?
So moved.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Kemp, a second by Commissioner Myers. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
All right, thank you. We'll go into the public comment portion of the agenda. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concerns. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing input to board members. However, it is requested at the same time when you address the board that comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or staff member, but rather directed at the issues. The board has set aside 45 minutes in the morning for public comments. At the discretion of the chair, the board may again hear public comments at the end of the meeting. Speakers may sign up to speak at BOCC meetings either in person or virtually by completing the form at hcflgov.net/speakup up to 48 hours prior to the meeting, or speakers may sign up in person the day of the meeting in the lobby of County Center. Sign up for public hearings and public comment closes at 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which their requests to speak have been received. When addressing the board, please state your name and address and speak clearly into the microphone. Up to 3 minutes are allowed for each speaker. This morning, we do have 19 people that have signed up. I would just encourage everyone to not use the full 3 minutes if you don't need them, so everyone would be allowed to speak this morning. The first 2 folks that we have signed up in person are Laura Pennington and then Sean Wilson. Please come forward. Good morning, Ms. Pennington.
Good morning. My name is Laura Pennington. I live at 3107 Belmore Road, Old Carrollwood. Thank you for having me. I'm here to speak in support of the retail ban on the sale of rabbits. And I'll try to keep it brief, but as I found out as a young child, I had several rabbits. None of them lived very long. One was killed by a dog. Second was improperly cared for. Third and fourth were poisoned by pesticides outside my home. And the fifth one didn't even live a day. I bought him at a pet store, and he was immediately killed by a cat in the neighborhood. And as a young child with Asperger's, this was devastating to me. It took an emotional toll on our whole family. And even before they were killed, they weren't really properly cared for. They were exposed to the elements. They lived in a, cage outside and were quickly, unfortunately, neglected, forgotten about, and so forth. So I'd like to just put my weight behind, please, giving this support. I think it's a benefit to the children and families of Hillsborough County. I think that, having lived here for most of my life now, I've heard many stories of abandoned rabbits, including one that was found in Al Lopez Park that I saw personally, dead behind a dumpster. So I'd like to really encourage you to consider a full retail ban, as Easter is not that far off. People make impulse purchases for their children, and overall it has a very negative effect on the parents, the children of those owners of the rabbits. So thank you for considering that.
Thank you, Ms. Pennington, for your comments. Sean Wilson. And then next is Katie Nolan, and she's virtual. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and County Commissioners. My name is Sean Wilson. I'm the president of Blue Sky Communities, and I live at 3714 West Roland Street in Tampa. You know, I'm here to bring you good news. I'm here to support an item. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm here to bring you good news, and that is that the Hillsborough County has an affordable housing development machine, and it does work, and Blue Sky Communities is a part of that. That machine is steered by Hillsborough County staff, County Administrator, Assistant County Administrator Cheryl Howell, County Attorney's Office, and the staff at AHS. The engine that runs the machine are developers like Blue Sky Communities, and there's several others. And the input, the fuel that we use, are resources that are provided, funding that is provided primarily by Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners, both county funding, but also big chunks of state and federal funding that y'all put out. And so I'm here to really tell the new members of the commission that you've got something good here, something that works. And thanks to your prior support, Blue Sky Communities has been able to build several hundred affordable housing units in the unincorporated area. And we actually have one under construction right now. That is the one that I believe it's item A1. It's on the consent agenda. It's a short extension for us to finish construction on Uptown Sky, which is a joint venture that we have with the University Area Community Development Corporation. It's right on Fletcher Avenue. And so we thank staff for putting that on the consent today. And we've got several other developments that will be coming up before you guys over the next several months, several things in the pipeline. And really looking forward to working with the new commissioners and the prior commissioners, and I congratulate the new ones on your election. I look forward to working with you. I would invite you to take a tour of any of our apartment complexes. I'll probably reach out to your aide to see if if your schedule would permit. And with that, I wish you a great rest of the meeting, a wonderful holiday, and a happy and safe new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for your comments and for the good work you've done in our community. Katie Nolan is virtual.
Katie, can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. Good morning. Katie Nolan, General Campaigner for In Defense of Animals, an international animal protection nonprofit with 250,000 supporters, many in Florida who care about animals, including rabbits. I'm joining you this morning to speak on behalf of our organization and our members to encourage you to adopt an ordinance to ban the retail sale of rabbits. Several other Florida municipalities have successfully banned the retail sale of rabbits, as you will hear about and discuss today. Rabbits are commonly misunderstood as easy to care for animals and good starter pets for children. But in reality, they need a high level of care. Rabbits can live 10 years and require much more space than the traditional backyard hutch that is commonly thought of as rabbit housing. Rabbits are actually quite fragile. They can easily break their backs from handling and can actually die from stress and heart attacks. Also, they require specialized veterinary care, and it is very expensive to have them spayed and neutered. I personally have 2 rabbits who are rescues from a shelter, and I can speak from experience that they are much more difficult to care for than I personally anticipated. They chew everything, and their space personally spans half of my house, and I still do not feel like it's enough room for them. I believe that banning a retail sale of rabbits would prevent families who are unprepared for rabbits from making impulse purchases at stores, and it would ensure that rabbits get happy homes they deserve. So thank you for reviewing ordinance language from other Florida municipalities, and we ask that you consider adopting an ordinance to ban the retail sale of rabbits. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Nolan, for your comments. Terry Kemple.
Hello, my name is Terry Kemple. Mr. Chairman, it's been a while since I've seen you from this side of the podium, but well, congratulations and welcome to the new commissioners. And I do have a kind of a humorous thing real quick. Commissioner Kemp said at one public hearing where we were trying to get the commission to renegotiate the garbage hauling, that it was the first time she'd remembered ever agreeing with me on something. So I hope that this one that I'm going to speak on will be the second. Anyway, welcome to the new commissioners, and thank you so much. I'm just real briefly, item F2 is about putting vaping, or doing the investigation into whether or not vaping retail outlets should be close to schools. So I'm just going to real quickly quote some statistics or information from the CDC, the Centers for Disease Control. Nearly 9 out of 10 adults who smoke cigarettes daily first try smoking by age 18, and 99% first try smoking by age 26. Each day in the U.S., about 1,600 youth smoke their first cigarette, and nearly 200 youth start smoking every day. So youth are obviously at risk here. And then the other statistic from the Centers for Disease Control, e-cigarettes have been the most commonly used tobacco product among youth since 2014. In 2022, about 1 out of every 30 middle school students reported that they had used electronic cigarettes in the past 30 days. In 2022, about 1 out of every 7 high school students reported that they had used electronic cigarettes in the past 30 days. These are staggering statistics that really speak strongly to the need to provide as much separation as is legally possible between our children and the places where these killer devices can be purchased. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kemple. Appreciate your comments and kind words. Next two speakers are virtual. Nina Perino, followed by Suzanne House.
Hi, my name is Nina Perino. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my address is 2678 Megan Court, Palm Harbor, 34684. And I just want to say that I fully support a full ban on the retail sale of rabbits. The nonprofits and sanctuaries and our shelters in the Tampa Bay area are burdened by footing the bill for the retail stores, and who are ultimately responsible for all the rabbits that are get dumped and die and are not taken care of properly. So please, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak, and for the commissioners for addressing this important issue in our community, both for people and the rabbits. So please pass a full retail ban on the selling of rabbits in retail stores. Plenty of sanctuaries out there people can obtain rabbits from. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Perino. Suzanne House.
Good morning. Suzanne House, 8802 Lagoon Street, Tampa 33615. The Pasco County Commissioners unanimously voted to ban the retail sale of bunnies from pet stores on October 11th. The Humane Society in Tampa has taken in over 200 unwanted pet rabbits so far this year. Last year they took in 260. Every rabbit rescue is overwhelmed and having to turn people away. So where do they go? They're dumped. They're dumped in parks. They're dumped in neighborhoods. Most never survive. The Florida Department of Agriculture has been on high alert for the deadly rabbit virus, RHDV2, which is brought in with pet store rabbits from other states and other countries. This virus could wipe out our entire wild rabbit population. 4 cases have already been found in Florida. Rabbits are an impulse buy. They're not the best option for a pet. They require lots of care. When that becomes a problem, they're turned out. This is a big problem all over Florida. So I beg you, please ban the sales of domestic rabbits in pet stores, flea markets, and everywhere else. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. House. Next two speakers are in person, Renee Rivard, followed by Ellen Snelling. Good morning, Ms. Rivard.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome new commissioners. Renee Rivard, P.O. Box 81, Cortez, Florida, 34215. $40,000. $40,000. $40,000 is what the Humane Society here in Tampa spent last year to spay and neuter 260 unwanted rabbits. This year, they have taken in 250 rabbits so far, on track to spend another $40,000. In the last 3 years, the Humane Society has spent over $100,000 spaying and neutering rabbits. That's $100,000 they could have used to help your animal services with dogs and cats. Nonprofits and rabbit rescues across the state are overwhelmed with rabbits and financially burdened. Petco and PetSmart stopped selling rabbits over 10 years ago because they realized that people impulse buy rabbits, especially at Easter, and then dump them off at rescues or outside. Rabbits dumped outside can spread the deadly RHDV2 virus to our wild rabbits. The Florida Department of Agriculture and the FWC are on high alert for this virus. $40,000 to spay and neuter rabbits, overwhelmed rescues, and a deadly virus. We are asking that you ban the retail sale of rabbits. We are in disagreement with your staff's research regarding the agricultural community. The ban will not affect 4-H or FFA. We called those organizations. Both confirm that selling rabbits to pet stores is not part of their programs. I went to the county fair last year and spoke with the folks who were showing their rabbits. They told me they would never give up their rabbits, nor would they buy from pet stores because the rabbits in pet stores are not purebred. As for eating rabbits, not only are rabbits in pet stores small bunnies sold for $29 to $69, but do you really want people eating meat from places that are not regulated? Rabbit meat is not popular in the United States, and those that consume it typically go to the butcher shops to purchase it. In 2014, Whole Foods started selling rabbit meat. They stopped it a year later because of slow sales and their customers complaining that rabbits are pets. In addition, the farm that was supplying Whole Foods the rabbits were cited by the USDA for not providing its rabbits drinking water and keeping them outdoors in freezing weather without proper shelter. Whenever money and animals are in the same sentence, the animals suffer. Pasco County has lots of rural areas and nobody in their agriculture community complained about a ban. This is a retail ban involving retail stores that sell rabbits as pets. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Rivard. Ellen Snelling. Good morning, Ms. Snelling.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here today to be in support of Commissioner Michael Owens' item F2, the request research on vape shops in Hillsborough County and those that are placed closer than 500 feet to schools. In 2019, at age 21, vape ordinance was passed by the Board of County Commission. And it was a great ordinance, and it addressed the sales, possession, and use of vape devices and products, but not the store location. The problem is, under current law, vape shops can be located right across the street from an elementary, middle, or high school. Youth vaping is epidemic in Hillsborough County. We heard Terry Kimple talk about some national statistics. Well, it's really bad right here at home. It's alarming because a young person's brain is still developing into the mid-20s, and vaping negatively impacts the developing brain. And teenagers are not just vaping nicotine, they are also vaping marijuana. Both of these drugs are addictive and harmful. So I just found yesterday the Florida Youth Substance Abuse Survey for 2022 for the county level was just released, and unfortunately our youth statistics are headed in the wrong direction. Vape nicotine is the #1 drug that our middle school students are using right now. Alcohol used to be #1 for years, and this is the first time it's overtaken by vape nicotine. Our middle school students are vaping both nicotine and marijuana, and their rates are higher than the state average, and they jumped from 2020 to 2022. Okay, so those of you that were here back in March remember that I'm the candy lady, and I brought Delta 8 candy, and this is something that you can purchase at smoke and vape shops. So I just wanted to remind you all about this, and this is another reason I'm very concerned about these shops being close to schools. So there's a new trend, Delta 8 THC, and the smoke shops, most of them are selling this product, and it's in vapes and it's in candy. They have cases. If you walk into one, you'll see a case just full of these products, and they're very bright colors. They're very attractive to young people. Fruit flavors. They contain Delta-8, Delta-10, and some other forms of THC, very similar to the THC in marijuana. So it is intoxicating and addictive. A child, if you want to see these, I have my bag. I carry it with me all the time. But there's Skittles, Nerdrope, and candies that look just like children's candy. So a child could even accidentally eat one of these at school. And again, if these shops are very close to school, there's going to be a lot more exposure. So allowing vape shops and smoke shops to open near schools sends the wrong message to our children. Keeping these shops at least 500 feet from schools makes sense and it'd be a step in the right direction. I wanted to thank Commissioner Owen for advocating for policies to keep our kids healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Snelling. Next speaker is Dara Crystal. She's virtual.
Hello, Commissioners. My name is Dara Crystal. I'm calling in support of a full ban on the retail sale of rabbits. Rabbits are the third given up pet behind dogs and cats. In the SPCA in Pinellas County alone took in almost 250 unwanted pet rabbits last year. The Humane Society in Tampa took in a couple hundred rabbits so far this year. County shelters only take in dogs and cats. There aren't enough facilities that will take pet rabbits. When rabbit owners are turned away because these facilities are full, they dump the rabbits into neighborhoods and on the side of the road. Pet rabbits cannot survive in temperatures below 50 degrees and above 80 degrees. They also don't know how to find food and water because they've been domesticated. Rabbits don't like to be picked up. You can easily break their backs by doing so. They aren't recommended to be pets for young children. They cost a lot of money, not only for their special diet and hay, but also because a veterinarian that specializes in rabbits is needed. A Change.org petition with nearly 2,000 signatures pleads for change for treatment in rabbits in Hillsborough and surrounding counties. We'd like to see Hillsborough include rabbits in their existing retail pet sales ban. And once again, we're asking for a full ban on the retail sales of rabbits. This will not affect 4-H activities. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Crystal. Next speaker is Charles Rumpf. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'll try not to say a lot of the same stuff everyone's been saying, but I'm basically in support of a full retail ban of rabbits as well. Let's start with consumers. Almost all rabbit purchases are made on impulse with little forethought as to the ownership experience. Their nature is really unlike cats and dogs, and they're difficult to raise. They destroy a lot of property, and I think it's a rate that would surprise most consumers. They often get misgendered, so people buy 2 rabbits, they're not both boys, you get a bunch of baby rabbits you weren't expecting. This is just amplifying the aforementioned difficulties in trying to raise these things. They require specialized care, and all these problems basically result in the chronic return of these animals to pet shelters, which you keep hearing is putting a burden on that system and the taxpayer. In regards to the animals, the public's general lack of education as to their care and handling puts them at great risk. Their spines are delicate, and they are easily and tragically injured by their own owners during handling. They're nervous animals that can be traumatized to death, and their target consumer is children, which is not someone who's sensitive to that vulnerability. Even those rabbits who do not suffer fatal endings or injuries from their owners spend a large portion of their life wildly uncomfortable, either traumatized, under-exercised, abandoned at shelters after Easter, or worse, all of the above. These animals are clearly a poor fit for the average consumer. In summary, these are special, delicate animals. The status quo is bad for the consumers, it's bad for taxpayers, and most of all, bad for the welfare of these vulnerable animals. Let's protect all parties by removing them from pet stores, thus eliminating them from being bought on impulse like a candy bar at the convenience store register. Other Florida counties have already come to this conclusion, and I urge Hillsborough to be next. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker is Melissa Snively. She's virtual.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good morning. Well, thank you so much for having me this morning. My name is Melissa Snively, and I live at 5724 Turnpike Drive in Lithia. First, I want to say congratulations to the newly elected commissioners and give you my best wishes in serving your constituents. I'm a former board member for Hillsborough County Public Schools for the last 8 years, and I'm also a 20-year local small business owner, but more importantly, I'm a mother of 4 children, ranging from teenagers to young adults. I apologize for not being there in person today, as I've got some work obligations keeping me on this side of the county, but I am here to address item F2 on the agenda and express my concerns for the number of retail vaping and smoke shops popping up all over our communities. But specifically, my concerns are with the proximity of these stores to our schools. You see, vaping and the use of tobacco products has really become an epidemic in our society, and it's running rampant in our schools. And I've seen it. I've witnessed it. It's getting worse. Children are getting vaping products easier than ever, despite some of the great policy that's been developed to deter and prevent it. It's still happening, and there are countless stories of children who've nearly died from mishaps due to the use of e-cigarettes and those products. And we know that it's the leading cause of preventable disease, disability, and death. Yet nearly all tobacco use begins, as Mr. Kempel indicated, with underage smoking at young ages. And right now, there's some data that says about 3 million middle and high school students currently use tobacco products, and electronic cigarettes were the most commonly used. Another study by Stanford researchers shows that at least 44% of teens in the United States attend school within 1,000 feet of a tobacco retailer, and that 77% of public schools are within a 10-minute walk of a retailer. And this is important because when there are more stores near schools, youth smoking rates are higher. A research in 2019 found a positive association between higher density of stores near schools and youth susceptibility to future smoking. So what that means is basically students are more likely to become smokers when their school is located near these retail outlets. So, the bottom line is that many community members, parents, teachers, school administrators, families, are all very concerned about the impact of vaping and tobacco products and what they're doing to our kids. It's critical we take action now. There's scientific evidence that the proximity of smoke shops to schools has an impact on children. So I'm not asking you to ban vape shops or retail tobacco sales in Hillsborough County, but I am asking you to support item F2 and hopefully consider prohibiting stores so close to schools. I want to thank Commissioner Owen for bringing this to your board for consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Snively.
And thank you very much.
Appreciate your comments. Next 2 speakers in person, Dr. Betsy Coville and then Anne Marie Cancio. Good morning, Dr. Coville.
Welcome, new commissioners. I am a frequent speaker on issues relating to animals. I am very much pro-business as a small business owner for over 26 years. I have a bachelor's degree in agriculture, a master's in veterinary forensics, and a doctor of veterinary medicine. I believe my education and experience covers all aspects regarding rabbits. A pet store ban will not interfere with any FFA or 4-H activity. It would not restrict sales to breeders at fairs or shows. They do not buy or sell their rabbits to pet stores, as their rabbits are exhibition quality. Rabbits sold for meat or fur are not affected by this ban. Petco and PetSmart stopped selling rabbits over 14 years ago. It was not profitable, like selling food, toys, and supplies. The inhumane bunny mills are similar to puppy mills, but the standards are only 1 square foot per rabbit. The females have 8 to 10 litters per year, and to get 8-week-old bunnies in the store, they must be pulled early from the doe. Transport and stress on neonates results in up to 30% losses. With no previous education, owners assume they're an easy first pet. Very quickly, the higher costs of neutering and maintenance add up. They are prone to respiratory and GI diseases. They tire of the not-so-carefree rabbit and do not want them for 12 years. Since shelters are not equipped, the rescues are overwhelmed. The result is abandonment. They cannot tolerate the colder heat and fall prey to poison, cars, and predators. The Florida USDA is very concerned about the spread of the deadly rabbit hemorrhagic disease, which so far has only been in pet rabbits. With Pasco County, there are 4 locations in Florida with bans on pet store sales of rabbits. They allow sales from shelters and rescues. Just like any other pet, they need our protection. We can end the thousands of lives lost every year. This is not about closing businesses or depriving them of substantial income. It is not about disrupting any agriculture endeavors. A ban on pet store sales is the only right and humane thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Cavill. Anne Marie Cancio. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I will be very brief. So many of my colleagues before me have spoken much more eloquently than I have about this issue, and I so respect the veterinarian that just spoke. So let me be very brief. My name is Anne Marie Cancio. I reside at 17802 Ridgeway Court, Tampa, Florida. And I, too, am here to encourage you to pass a complete ban on the retail sale of rabbits in Hillsborough in the hopes that the stray rabbit population does not become the perennial problem that the stray cat population has become. I have volunteered for years with 2 cat rescues in our county, and I personally understand the vicious cycle of abandoned animals that procreate in the wild, producing even more abandoned animals that then need to be rescued and rehomed. It's a never-ending, expensive, and time-consuming labor of love finding decent homes for all these animals. Back to rabbits. All of Florida's rabbit rescues are overwhelmed, can't keep up with the demand for funds, volunteers, and foster homes, and are literally turning away as many rabbits as they take in. As a result, in my view, it is not responsible to be selling rabbits at the retail level to the general public. Hillsborough should step up and do its part to staunch the flow of abandoned rabbits to these already overwhelmed rescues. So please pass an ordinance to ban the retail sale of domestic rabbits in Hillsborough. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Our next speaker is John Trout. Mr. Trout present? Okay, the next one is Peggy Matthews. She's virtual.
Hi, I'm Peggy Matthews. I am an owner and the Environment Government Relations Director for Pine Key. I'd like to welcome the new commissioners that aren't all that familiar with this issue. Pine Key is a privately owned island since 1944, with current owners purchased it in 2018. It has a historical use for family recreation boating destination used by your constituents. Pine Key is in a unique situation. The county never designated a land use category for Pine Key. This started at the county not designating Pine Key. In order to get a building permit, a site plan, we must have a land use designation. We have tried getting a land use designation since 2018. First, we started with public, quasi-public. The BOCC rejected that. They said, go back and do an island recreation. We did that with the Planning Commission. The BOCC rejected that and said, go back and do a Pine Key specific land use designation. We absolutely agree with this. We are such a unique island, okay? There's no other one like it. We agree with the specific land use designation for Pine Key that encompasses our type of business and protects our private property rights. We look forward to continue working with the commission and especially look forward to meeting the new commissioners to obtain a land use designation. Everyone have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your comments. John Altman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, and thank you for letting me speak. I'm not going to speak on anything other than solid waste today. On Wednesday, November 16th, I watched as the yard rubbish collection truck came around to collect yard waste. The truck stopped to pick up the yard waste from my neighbors' houses across the street from me. I watched as they sliced open the black lawn bags, dumped the contents of the bags into the truck, and then tossed the black garbage bags into my blue recycle container. I knew that as the black trash bags are not recyclable, that should not have been done. I walked around. My street is a circle. I'm sorry, my address is 10311 Del Mar Circle. I walked around the street to meet them as they were about and asked them about it, as well as to get a picture of the truck number. I stood in the middle of Harvest Place, which is just a little connecting street, so they could not get through without stopping. While I was watching, I noted that Lazaro, one of the workers on the truck, opened a black plastic bag, dumped the contents into the truck, and then threw the bag on the ground. Not in a trash can, not in a recycle bin, not in a trash can, just on the ground. So in other words, he was littering. As the truck turned on to exit the community, I stood directly in front of the truck so that they could not pass. The truck came to a stop roughly about 3 inches from myself. Just as a side note, had the truck actually hit me, the sheriff's office would definitely have been called. The driver, Ron, told me that the black trash bags were indeed recyclable and that the county would confirm that. I then asked them about the trash bag that they threw on the ground. Ron asked me where it occurred, and I pointed to the left. Lazaro came out and was yelling in mostly broken English that he did not do that. Told him that I did see it and that I would be calling the county, stepped aside and let them go. I went home and immediately called the county at 10:17 a.m., spoke to Omar, and relayed the above. He said that the black plastic trash bags are indeed not recyclable, but said that they were allowed to do that and mentioned something about contamination. Advised him that that did not make sense. Again, throwing a non-recyclable bag in a recycle bin. I've been yelled at by solid waste for that before. Advised about the crew lying to me. He said that would be investigated. Advised that I would like to speak to a supervisor. He put me on hold for a little bit and then came back and told me they were all in a meeting. He took my name and number and advised that they would call back later. Asked if that would be today, and he said yes. When the supervisor manager calls me, I will let you know what we have discussed. So far, nobody has called me back. Truthfully, I've given up hope that someone is going to call me back from the county. I want to emphasize that I am not complaining about throwing my neighbor's trash bag into my trash bin. I took a long time to figure out what the question was that I wanted to ask regarding this issue. Then I figured out that I didn't.
Thank you, Mr. Altman, for your comments. If you'd come over here to the side, someone on staff is going to get with you on this.
Okay.
We appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Last 3 speakers are all virtual. Jonathan McHenry, followed by Joseph Vath, and then Carlos Diaz. Mr. McHenry.
Yes, hi. My name is Jonathan McHenry, 720 Sunset Cove, Madeira Beach. I'm one of the major stake owners of Pine Key, Tampa Bay, and Peggy spoke on our behalf earlier, and I just wanted to reiterate the fact that we have been working tirelessly with planning staff and the Board of County Commissions, and I want to congratulate everyone who was voted in and for your new post. And we look forward to working with you. What I wanted to say basically was that Pine Key, or aka Beer Can Island, has always been a boating destination. We bought this island years ago, and we went out and we took this trashed place that was bad for the environment, bad for everything, and what we turned it into is a nice family-oriented place that Tampa Bay can be proud of, okay? We also work tirelessly with law enforcement and military, and as a matter of fact, MacDill Air Force Base does training exercises regularly on our island, and they're actually going to be out there on Friday doing another one, okay? So we work with them, we are part of the community, and we want to make everything better for Tampa Bay. And we've been working tirelessly, yet we keep running into brick walls, and it's not because we're not working with them, it's because of what's happened in the past. And what I want to say is we have nothing but good intentions, and we want to be able to continue to do what we've done, which is a benefit to Tampa Bay at large. Thank you for your time. Congratulations to the new commissioners, and God bless.
Thank you, sir. Joseph Vath.
Hi, I'm Joe Vass of 1227 Acapella Lane, Apollo Beach, Florida. I've been a resident of Apollo Beach for 45 years. I'm also a local business owner of a marine construction company. We employ roughly 30 plus employees, and they all have school-age children. I'm also one of the new members or new owners of Pine Key, aka Beer Can Island. I've enjoyed this island since being a teenager many years ago. I'd like to say a good morning and congratulations to all the new commissioners and all of those of you who have been working for our community. Congratulations. We know this is not an easy endeavor, the thing that you guys do helping our community. We'd like to thank you for that, and for taking time out of your lives to help our community make it better. So I'm looking forward to working with you guys. I understand that there's been some roadblocks in the past. I'm looking forward to working with you all in improving this local treasure of ours. One of the many goals of mine are safety. Safely getting people on and off of our island with our newly proposed docking structures, which my company will be building. I've got 42 years experience in the marine construction field. I'm also a state licensed marine contractor, and I'm a board member of the Tampa Bay Marine Contractors Association. So that association has roughly 150 member companies, around 4,000 local residents are employed throughout those companies from all walks of life, from carpenters, laborers, to local vendors, contractors, welders, insurance companies, and such. So, our plan is to, my plan is to put this experience that I have to use out there, rebuilding and building up this community gym. We'll provide even more jobs and opportunities and recreation for our local community. I'd like to thank you all for giving us this quick opportunity to introduce ourselves, our thoughts, and just wish you good luck in your endeavors as county commissioners, and look forward to working with you. Thank you, and God bless.
Thanks, Mr. Vath, for your comments. Our last speaker this morning is Carlos Diaz.
Good morning, and congrats, commissioners. My name is Carlos Diaz. I live at 304 Glendale in Brandon. I think it's important that you guys get to know who I am and what my agenda is for our community. I'm one of the owners of the Pinchos at Pine Key, Tampa Bay, and the owner and founder of Big Parts LLC, which is a construction equipment parts supplier in Hillsborough County. We supply parts to the largest contractors in the area, such as like Kearney, Kimmons, JBS, Moretrench, Mosaic, Orion. We do them all. Me and part owners of Pine Key, Tampa Bay, aka Beer Can Island, is one of the nicest things that I've ever come across. I'd like to shout out to Commissioner Owens. By the way, just want to say both my daughters graduated from St. Leo University. My oldest daughter is finishing her law degree. Me and my fiance have raised a family of lawyers, nurses, firefighters, and paramedics, all in Hillsborough County. All of our kids went to school here and were born here in Hillsborough County and raised here. I think now that I've said that, I'd like to talk a little more about Pine Key, means I've only got 3 minutes. Pine Key, Tampa Bay, aka Beer Can Island, is a local vacation away from home. The atmosphere there is like sinking your feet in the sand in Fiji. Our family and friends and people of the community absolutely adore it. Pine Key is a safe place to enjoy your time with your friends and your family. We own a small business at the island. It's bean sales at Pine Key. We sell top sirloin on the skewer, kielbasa on the skewer, pork and chicken on the skewer with some homemade sweet Hawaiian-based barbecue sauce. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not sure if you guys know, but Labor Day, there was over 1,100 visitors we had there. It's nothing to see several hundred boats with people enjoying themselves and watching an amazing sunset. We invite you all to at least try and come out one day or listen or pay attention to what we're doing there, because it's a big deal. And we need your help. And thank you so much. And enjoy the rest of your days, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz, for your comments. That closes the public comment portion of the agenda. I believe we have one item, consent item for highlighting. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We have item A16, which was pulled by Commissioner Wastel for highlighting.
Commissioner Wastel.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I highlight this specific item to commend the board for following the will of the people and finally putting this new tax to rest and hopefully proceeding forward with finally prioritizing the improvement of infrastructure and roads without the needs for future taxes. Move this back to consent.
Can we have a motion for the consent agenda?
Approval.
Motion for the consent by Commissioner Kemp.
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. If no comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, Ms. Wise, I guess we have a few minutes before our first time certain.
Yes, sir. We're going to take item B1. This is the first regular agenda item. This is to accept the 2022 Local Housing Incentive Strategies Report. Ms. Cheryl Howell, Assistant County Administrator, will present this item.
Morning, Ms. Howell.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Commissioners. Good to be here this morning. It's been quite some time. My name is Cheryl Howell. I am the Assistant County Administrator of Equity and Community Impact. This morning, I would like to present to you the Local Housing Incentive Strategy Plan. Hillsborough County adopted the first local housing incentive strategy plan in 1994 as part of the mandatory requirement to receive State Housing Initiative Partnership Program funds, better known as SHIP funds. This report is included in the triennial local housing assistance plan that's required by the Sadowski Act and the enactment of utilizing these funds. Each year, the Affordable Housing Advisory Board is required to review and approve recommendations for the local housing incentive strategies, and I'll refer them from this point on as the LHIS, that are subsequently submitted to the Board of County Commissioners and finally sent to the Florida Housing Finance Corporation in support of the SHIP funds. This annual report is required to be prepared and presented to the local governing body through the SHIP program. The most current LHIS report and any public comments received must be presented to the Board of County Commissioners and submitted to the Florida Housing Finance Corporation by December 31st, 2022. The LHIS report must consider recommendations on the implementation of affordable housing incentives in the following areas. Of this following list, 2 incentives are required by the Florida Housing Finance Corporation to be adopted: the expedited permitting and the process of ongoing review. The following list of recommendations approved by the Affordable Housing Advisory Board: the processing of approvals of development orders or permits for the affordable housing projects are expedited to a degree greater than other projects. Available fee waivers provided for the development or construction of affordable housing. The allowance of flexibility in densities for affordable housing. The reservation of infrastructure capacity for housing for low-income, moderate, and very low-income persons. The reduction of parking and setback requirements for affordable housing. The allowance of flexible lot configurations, including zero lot line configurations for affordable housing. The modification of street requirements. The establishment of a process by which a local government considers before adoption policies, procedures, ordinance regulations, or plan provisions that increase the cost of housing. the preparation of a printed inventory of locally owned public lands suitable for affordable housing, and the support of development near transportation hubs and major employment centers and mixed-use development. The Hillsborough County Affordable Housing Advisory Board held a public hearing on Monday, December 5th, 2022, to adopt its evaluation and final local housing incentive strategy recommendations for the SHIP program. The county has completed an evaluation of required incentives as defined in the Florida statute. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve the 2022 Local Housing Incentive Strategy Report from the Affordable Housing Advisory Board as presented at their public hearing on December 5th, 2022. This annual report is required to be prepared and presented to the local governing body by the state of Florida as one of the conditions to continue to receive funding through the SHIP program. There is no financial impact associated with the acceptance of this report.
Thank you, Ms. Howell. Appreciate your comments. Do we have a motion or any comments?
So moved.
Second. Got a motion approved by Commissioner Kemp, second by Commissioner Myers. No comments. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. We still have a little bit of time before 10 o'clock, so if you all would like to waive your rules to take Commissioner Owens' item F1, then we can take that a little bit early.
Commissioner Owen, you good with that?
Yes, I was going to move to do that. We have Judge Ficaroto on the line. I know he has court, so I would move to have my items heard first.
Okay, we'll waive the rules and have Commissioner Owens' item taken first. Motion, Commissioner Owen. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Commissioner Cameron Cepeda. Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, Commissioner Owen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This motion will request for the approval of the renaming of the conference room 301 on the third floor of the office of the State Attorney, 13th Judicial Circuit, 419 North Pierce Street, in honor of Michael Sinacore. And I do have the Chief Judge on the line. I would like to permit him to say a few words because I know he's got court today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Chief.
Hey, good morning, Board of County Commissioners. It's an honor to be here with you. I apologize that I cannot be there in person, but I'm a working Chief Judge. I've got my juvenile mental health court going on even as we speak, and I've just taken a brief recess from that to come and join you on this issue. I just want to make it clear that the court is in support of this renaming of this conference room after former Assistant State Attorney Michael Sinacore. I had the good fortune of working closely with Mr. Sinacore when he was the Chief Assistant State Attorney, and he was a model prosecutor. He is someone that we can all be very, very proud of as an officer of the court. He was always direct and did a great job. He's got a great reputation among the lawyers and among all the judges as well. And I think that this naming of this conference room is definitely something that is most deserving for Mr. Sinacore. He's received our Outstanding Professionalism Award in the past, and as I indicated, he's going to be a role model for the Assistant State Attorneys in the future. So I would support this motion, and I thank you for the opportunity to appear in front of you virtually. And again, I apologize that I can't be with you. And also, I want to thank the Board of County Commissioners for all of your support that you give all of our judges here locally. We could not do our job. You provide a great deal of support to our courts, and it is greatly appreciated by me and by all of the judges.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate your kind words and keep up the great work. Thank you, sir. Commissioner Owen?
Thank you, Your Honor. And the conference room serves as a meeting space for attorneys, investigative staff, law enforcement, crime victims working on cases and special victims units, very sensitive cases, which include child crime victims. So it's a very important room, and I think it is well deserved that this is named after Mr. Sinacore. His resume is in the backup, Commissioners. I'm sure you've looked at it. We could sit here all day and talk about his accomplishments. So I think the Chief Judge said it all. So at this time, I move to request approval of the renaming of the conference room 301 on the third floor of the office of the State Attorney, 13th Judicial Circuit, 419 North Pierce Street, in honor of Michael Sinacore.
Second the motion.
Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Owen, second by Commissioner Wolster. If there are no comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Chief. Ms. Wise?
Thank you. We can now move on to our
10 o'clock time
public
slot.
hearings,
Okay.
10 o'clock public hearings. Our first public hearing is item D1. This is to accept a public hearing on hear the comments for the program year 2021 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, known as the CAPER. And Ms. Howell will present this item as well.
Morning. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Cheryl Howell, the Assistant County Administrator for Equity and Community Impact. I'm here this morning to present to you an item for our Consolidated Action Performance Evaluation Report. That's a report that we send up to Housing and Urban Development. We're here to conduct a public hearing to accept comments on the program year 2021 Consolidated Action Performance and Evaluation Report. B, to close the public comment and review period, which began on November 2nd, 2022, and approve submittal of the CAPER to HUD. And approval of this agenda item will close the required 15-day public comment period and approve submittal of the CAPER to HUD, thereby ensuring citizen participation and compliance with HUD requirements. This is a public hearing. There's no fiscal impact related to this public hearing.
Thank you, Ms. Howell. I don't believe anyone has signed up, but I'll go ahead and open the public comment portion just in case anyone's here. Seeing no one, we'll close the public comment section.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion to approve by Commissioner Kemp, second by Commissioner Myers. No other comments. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. D2.
The next item is item D2. This is also a public hearing to consider adopting a resolution for the intent to use a non-ad valorem assessment method for the Danish Shores Pelican Island Electric Facilities Assessment Area. Josh Bellotti, with the Director of Engineering and Operations, will present this item.
Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations Department. This is a public hearing to adopt the resolution stating the board's intent to use the uniform method of collecting non-ad valorem assessments levied in the Danish Shore Pelican Island Underground Special Assessment Area. This will allow the previously imposed assessments to begin being collected annually in the same manner as property taxes beginning in November 2023. This public hearing was duly advertised in the Tampa Bay Times in accordance with Florida law, and I'll provide the clerk with a copy of the proof of publication. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, and this is a public hearing.
Thank you, sir. We'll open up the public comment or public hearing. I don't believe anyone signed up, so we'll immediately close it and take a motion.
Move for approval.
Second. Motion approved, Commissioner Myers, second, Commissioner Cohen. If there are no board member comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
D3.
Thank you. Item D3, Mr. Bellotti will take us through this one as well. This is for street lighting districts and to adopt a resolution and make the necessary changes.
Good morning again. Josh Bellotti, Engineering and Operations Department. This item is our annual public hearing to adopt the resolution for annexations and modifications to the residential street lighting districts as described in the agenda materials. This request is authorized by Ordinance 17-17, and these modifications have met all requirements of the Hillsborough County Consolidated Street Lighting Special Purpose District. This public hearing was duly advertised in the Tampa Bay Times in accordance with Florida statutes. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have, and this is a public hearing.
Thank you, sir. Again, no one signed up, so I'll open and immediately close the public hearing.
Move
And,
approval.
motion to approve, Commissioner Kemp, second, Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay, and then if we can have a motion to waive our rules to have Commissioner Owen's 10:30 item heard now.
Move to waive the rules.
Second. Motion to waive the rules, Commissioner Kemp. Second, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Owen, are you okay with that?
I am. Thank you.
Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Commissioner Owen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This motion will direct staff to, one, research the number of businesses operating in Hillsborough County that sell vaping devices or products within 500 feet of an elementary, middle, or high school, and two, other jurisdictions that have regulated vaping businesses near schools and any impacts of those regulations. I do have a school board member that is here to speak, and I would love to give her, Member Rendon, an opportunity to speak.
Absolutely. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you so much for allowing me to speak. First of all, let me introduce myself for those of you who do not know me. I am the newest school board member of Hillsborough County and representing District 4. On top of being very involved in my child's education in our community, I am a mother of 3 daughters. And at the end of the day, my daughters and the other children that are in schools, their safety is my biggest concern. We have way too many things today in our community that are enticing and inviting to our children. And one of those today is our vaping products and tobacco products. Consequently, 63% of Hillsborough County high school students say they have tried or are using vaping products today. Over 3,000 students last year were either entered into emergency rooms or have lung damage based upon vaping. It is a critical need and a crisis in our community right now. And so I just want to thank you guys all and thank Commissioner Owen for taking the time to research this product to find a way to at least protect our children from the nearby dangers that are right outside their back doors. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments and congratulations on your election.
Thank you very much.
Commissioner Owen.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you, Member Rendon. So I've been getting calls from folks, my constituents, and this is a concern. As you see more and more of these stores opening up in front of schools, it really waves some red flags. I won't exhaust it. A lot of the speakers here talked about the CDC, even our own Attorney General. A lot of nationwide organizations are very clear that the use of vapor-generating products have dramatically increased in the use of teenagers and young adults. I live near a Wawa. I go there all the time to eat lunch and dinner, and high school kids hang out over there. And I can't help but notice watching them pass around these vaping devices, and it looks cool. I mean, they have all the different flavors, and Miss Snelling that was here before shows all the gummies and Skittles and things like that. So I think it's definitely a concern. I understand that this impacts business. I'm not someone who wants to regulate business heavily, okay? But when it comes to the safety of our youth and children, I think it's important. We have an ordinance, 1924. It's in the backups. It regulates the age and the use of these devices and products in certain areas like playgrounds, rec centers, and places where children congregate. I think that's kind of important to think about because obviously children congregate in schools, right? In your backup is an ordinance with language from the City Commission of Miami Beach as well, if you want to take a look at it. It does regulate within 500 feet, no vaping stores, basically. So this is just kind of a fact-finding for staff. So my motion is to direct staff to, one, research the number of businesses operating in Hillsborough County that sell vaping devices or products within 500 feet of an elementary, middle, or high school, and two, other jurisdictions that have regulated vaping businesses near schools and the impacts of those regulations.
Second.
We got a motion by Commissioner Owen, second Commissioner Kemp. Commissioner Kemp, you're recognized.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing this forward. This is extremely important. I did not know that there was this opportunity to have these stores opened close to schools. I would have immediately considered, the first thing I asked is, isn't this preempted by the state? I'm stunned that it is not, with all the preemptions that are done by the state, that something like this is not preempted by the state. As I understand, is that correct? I'll ask legal to confirm that here.
You are correct, Commissioner.
And so I was stunned by that. I also assume, and I'd like to ask legal, Ms. Beck, we do not, I'm assuming that as we go forward with this, and I didn't know anything like this have been open when we had an opportunity not to stop that. But in terms of the places already open, I'm assuming that I know maybe you haven't completed the research yet, but that they're grandfathered in place.
I think that would be something that we would, the board could consider when we bring back all of the factual information, because no, we do not know exactly the impacts right now and the number of businesses. It's going to be a significant amount of work to just identify all the potential impacts. But once we do that, that would certainly be an appropriate discussion for the consideration of any regulation.
Thank you. And I've just been deeply concerned that we don't seem even nationally, federally, to understand or know the impacts of vaping and what it has. I've just read very many concerning cases, and the long-term effects, we don't know. So I think this is very important that we do whatever is within our jurisdiction and power to do. And again, I'm very stunned that this isn't already state law and that or preempted.
Commissioner Cohen.
Thank you. And I agree with both of you and think this is obviously a very important issue and one that I'm also surprised seems to have fallen through the cracks of regulation. I have a question for the county attorney as we consider this. How will this affect the 3 cities? Will this apply to them if they don't opt out, or will it only apply to the unincorporated county?
Commissioner, the answer to that depends on how you choose to draft it. The typical rule is that if we send or pass a countywide ordinance, that it would apply to all of the municipalities. However, they can opt out. So sometimes we've drafted ordinances that only apply to the county, and sometimes we've applied it to the whole county. So that'll be something we can consider and get information from those stakeholders.
So I would suggest as you conduct your research, perhaps maybe you can give us the information on how many are located in the cities as well, and then we can consider it, as part of our decision on how to structure it. But I think just to put an opinion in, if we don't include the cities in it, it's going to have a huge loophole that may be unintended. So I think it's important for us to try to encompass everybody.
I want to thank Commissioner Owen for bringing this forward. I can tell you, as having a 16-year-old daughter, I wholeheartedly support this. Thought of vaping, just scares the hell out of me. So I really do appreciate you initiating this. Okay, we got a motion by Commissioner Owen, second Commissioner Kemp. No other comments? Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Oh, and one other thing, Commissioner Owen, I too am a frequent diner at Wawa. Although I was a bit disappointed Sunday when I went to 2 different Wawas in the morning and neither one of them had egg whites. So I'll just put that on the record. All right, Ms. Wise, next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next item is a staff report. It is item G1. This is to receive a report on the various options from other jurisdictions that can be used to regulate rabbit sales in Hillsborough County. This was requested to bring back to you. Mr. Scott Charbotowski, our Director of Pet Resources, will present this item and this report.
Good morning, Scott.
Hi, Scott Charbotowski, Pet Resources. I have a very, very short presentation since we did provide a pretty decent report to you. So we'll just kind of hit the highlights here. Next slide. So generally, if you're looking around, a lot of the typical provisions are a generalized ban. There's been very few that have been seasonal, and I think that partially comes to the enforcement issue. It's very difficult to enforce seasonal versus a flat-out ban. A few places have the adoption-only motto, which means that these stores would have to get them from a rescue if they were going to allow them to be sold at the stores. And education is obviously kind of lacking. I also owned a rabbit when I was little, but boy, I didn't know the tip of the iceberg of what the real issues were until this group brought them forward. Next slide. Optional things that other people have included is dealing with the promotional giveaways. This used to be a bigger issue years and years ago. I've rarely, if ever, seen any of these giveaways anymore, but it used to be you gave away chicks, ducklings, and rabbits at Easter. I think that's pretty much an older thing. Flea markets, roadsides, I think that's always good policy for any animal. Not really an ideal place to be selling them, and it puts them at great risk as well. And the basics are, if they're going to be sold or displayed, to make sure they're sterilized, that, you know, obviously, even if they come from a rescue, if they're not sterilized, we still have the potential problem of multiple rabbits being generated. But I think all of the rescues I'm aware of do that before they sell. So last slide. Common exceptions are bona fide agricultural sales. We believe that that's probably well covered by state statute 585. Educational uses, which I think fall under that broad category. Animal rescues, allowing direct person-to-person sales, allowing breeder to owner sales, and the rabbit fancier breed association, they meet at like Amalie Arena and places like that to sell their rabbits to other people who are interested in the breeds that they sell. So that is my really quick overview. I'm here for any questions.
All right, thank you, Scott. I would hang tight just in case. Commissioner Kemp?
Thank you. And also, I want to thank this morning, I know Dr. Betsy Colville has done a lot to educate this board over the past year. This has come up several times about this situation, as well as Renee Rivard. And if you have had a chance to see the emails, we've gotten quite a few emails, but they're very, very detailed on the kind of work that these citizens have done to look at this item we've been dealing with this for a year and a half at least. Coming back here, our first was to try an education program. I think we can pretty much say that that has failed. I'd just like to point out too that this morning you may have heard about the $40,000. It was repeated several times, $40,000 a year because of the unwanted rabbits that we know are abandoned at shelters. Our own pet shelter does not take rabbits. We take cats and dogs because we have already we're overwhelmed with all of those. And that's ticked up slightly since COVID has ended. People have more abandoned their cats and dogs. Then this rabbit problem, I don't know how long it has existed. I don't know if it's always been there, but it's certainly been highlighted. That $40,000 that they talked about is $40,000 in taxpayer dollars that is going to the Humane Society to accept rabbits that are abandoned here and they don't have any other option. There's also other shelters that are doing it. So it's a quite large problem. With that, I'll just say we do have a problem here after it really becomes most pronounced after Easter from impulse buys at pet stores that we've been talking about now for over a year. People just aren't prepared to care for them. I was a little taken aback when I found out everything that you need to do to care for rabbits. Pasco County already has rules in place to address this issue, and I believe it would make sense to adopt the rules consistent with Pasco County. Pasco's rules have not attracted any legal challenges. It's also addressed the protections, although it was stated by Mr. Trepetoski that there are protections in state law for Future Farmers of America and 4-H and farming and the agricultural
exception, so that will not be affected by any of this. And also in Pasco County, they do address that. So I'd like to have set this public hearing that would allow any concerns aired by the public and any fine tuning to be done. I've been working with staff at the county attorney's office, and they've assured me that based on the work we've already done, that this can be brought back to us promptly. And so with that, I'm going to make a motion to direct staff to draft a rabbit sales ordinance based on Pasco County's model and set it for public hearing. And I'd also like to ask, because of her expertise, that it includes consultation with Dr. Betsy Colville to go over what's presented at that time.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Kemp, second by Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Wostel, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I'm also going to call you Scott because I don't want to butcher your last name. Did you in your report find how many total rabbits were sold in Hillsborough County since the time that you began the study?
We had not done a survey again of the sales, but what we did get was invoicing from the Humane Society, and we had been invoiced from January through September for 144 rabbits. There may or may not be some lagging invoices, but that's what we have. That's what we've paid so far.
Okay, so out of 1.5 million people, very low number. One thing that was of particular importance on your report is that this would potentially open up and continue to set a precedence for future bans of future pets. And when you look at implementing ordinances, you always have to look at the long-term impacts of when does this stop. There's advocates for tons of breeds. Specifically, I own 3 rescue animals, a husky, formerly a Belgian Malinois, both breeds that are considered dangerous, when that's just really human error of them not knowing how to potentially care for that animal or train it. And so when you set this precedence, I heed caution on there are activists out there that don't like things like cows. And I wonder when that potential ordinance gets brought to us as us setting a bad precedence, which would negatively impact everybody in the future. So I commend all of the passion that's been brought before this board. I do believe that the county should continue its education process and promote it, particularly during the times of high rabbit sales, particularly around the holiday season. But I would oppose any heavy-handed ordinances that would create a abnormal precedence going forward. Specifically, you said that the state of California has issued a statewide ban of them, and I have no interest in following their lead. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Wostel. I actually, no one else is in the queue. I am the commissioner who championed our existing pet retail sales ordinance, and it was for many reasons, humane reasons for primarily. I do understand where Commissioner Wostel is coming from, and there certainly are some activists that are way out there that I would certainly oppose if they tried to keep going down that path. I do think it's important that if we're going to move forward, that we model it as Pasco, as suggested in the motion, because that's what we did on the initial ordinance, is that we model it after existing ordinances that had withheld legal challenges, so we knew we didn't have to worry about that. I'm going to support moving forward. I want to remind board members, this doesn't guarantee anything. It doesn't mean that you have to support or will support it. It's the next step. It allows us to actually get additional information, get the actual draft language, set the hearing, hear from the public, and there may be folks that come down that are opposed to it, frankly. But it gives us the opportunity to get additional information, hear more input from the public, and then at that point, we would make a final decision whether to go up or down. So that's another reason why I will support it, at a minimum, moving forward to getting the additional information. If there's no other speakers in the queue, there's a motion to draft a draft ordinance of this and to have the public hearing at the same meeting. And I'm assuming it's going to include the necessary exemptions as far as 4-H, FFA, or educational element that was mentioned in the presentation. Is that accurate?
Yes, and as was stated, and legal can confirm that, but that is both state law already, but it does also specifically include that, and we're asking for that.
Okay,
Commissioner.
Ms. Wise, you want to?
Yes, if we could just clarify the timing a little bit, because of public hearings require certain advertising. So if we can ask the county attorney to please clarify.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll bring back the draft that you all have requested at your next meeting, which I believe is January. And then the very next, after that's approved, we'll advertise it pursuant to the law and have the public hearing at the second meeting.
Okay, and that's our normal process. And then, okay, so after that motion, I do have a question and a suggestion as well. If there are no other comments, please record your vote.
Motion carried 6-1. Commissioner Wostel voted no.
Thank you, Commissioner Kemp, board members. One question, and I don't know if this is for Scott or for staff. Is it a good idea, or do you suggest that we notify the existing stores that, again, we know the big boys, the Petcos, they don't offer rabbits, but would it make sense to notify them that this is something that we're considering, just to give them advance notice? So if they're considering purchasing inventory in advance, that we're giving them a heads up, that, not saying this is definitely going to pass, but we're considering it. I know last year when we considered this ban, we were advised that from a timing perspective, from a legal perspective, that we just primarily do an educational campaign and then wait till this year. So I want to make sure that we avoid, if we want to consider adopting it, that we avoid any potential timing issues. So is that something that we should consider? Does that?
Yeah, that's what we did when we did the pet store, the dog and cat ban. We sent out letters to everybody. We called who we could. Not 100% sure that we know them all, but I think in this case we do know them all, because there's been a lot of work by the animal welfare to help us identify, and I think we found one or two that they hadn't. So I think it's a very simple process, and I think it's very reasonable to do that.
Okay, I would suggest that we make a motion to do that. I think it's pro-business. It's giving them a heads up that, hey, FYI, and it might, you know, it would also make sure that they're alerted and can engage in the public hearing that comes forward. So I think that'd be a good idea.
So I'll move that motion.
Yeah, second it.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Kemp.
And I just appreciate that. I think it's a very good idea, and one that we should pursue. And I regret that I couldn't bring this up. I was trying to bring this up sooner because of those concerns that were done last year, and that's one of the reasons I continued to put it on this agenda, even though we didn't quite have a history here, because I just thought we needed to deal with this.
Okay, but again, I think it'll help them. It'll make sure they can engage in the process, and if we do go down that route, it would save them money from not purchasing the animals in advance. Okay, so the motion by Commissioner Kemp, second Commissioner Cohen. Please record your vote.
Motion carried 7-0.
Okay. Thank you, Scott. Ms. Wise?
Thank you. The final item are future discussion items.
Do we have any future issue items by board members? Commissioner Owen.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of them. Would you permit me just to go back to back on them? I'll be quick.
Absolutely.
Okay. My first future item, it pertains to Ordinance 1411. This ordinance relates to the photography production permitting, specifically requiring a motion and or still photography production permit for motion production activities. Commissioner Hagan, I know you were involved in this one with Commissioner Miller. It's a great ordinance. I love the ordinance. I know why it was put in place. People are shooting commercials and videos in public parks, not providing insurance policies, and just basically pushing people out who are trying to enjoy the parks, right? I think it may be having some unintended consequences. I've gotten some calls from constituents that are mom and pop photographers. They go out and take a picture of 5 or fewer people, maybe engagement pictures or something like that. They have to get a permit every time. There's no cost, but there's time that's involved to get that permit. I've looked at the ordinance, Mr. Chairman, and to me, it looks like there's a carved out exemption from that for a still photographer that's taking a picture of 5 or fewer people. The filming commission is telling folks in my district otherwise. So my future items is to direct staff to provide information on the following. Does Ordinance 1411 carve out an exemption for still photographers taking pictures of 5 or fewer people, and what entity or entities are designated with the task of issuance of the permits under the ordinance?
Bonnie, you got that? Okay, good. Next item.
Yeah, my other future item, it relates to, there is a class action lawsuit in Leon County, case number 21CA00487. I kind of found that there's a motion to dismiss hearing on January 4th, 2022. I found it on my own. And this could have been something that was on consent prior to. I have really taken a deep dive and I've looked. But I guess my issue is I just really don't know much about the legal posture of the case. If there's a motion to dismiss filed, it looks like it's a joint motion to dismiss filed, and Ms. Beck can maybe clear some of this up. What is the impact of a granted motion to dismiss on that case? Do we have to pay attorney's fees? Are there third-party attorney fees we're paying to somebody that we've retained? So because it's so time-sensitive and we don't have another meeting before that hearing, I am requesting that at our next hearing, that the county attorney's office, which is a land use hearing, and I understand that that's not typical, but there is precedent. I've looked back and we have done this before. But I would like the county attorney's office to present a report to the board during the next week's land use meeting on December 13th, 2022, on the status of the case and the impact of the motion to dismiss.
All right, so this is time sensitive?
It is, because we don't have another meeting before the hearing on the motion to dismiss.
Okay. And that's not precedent setting. We have, and we do that, not frequently, but we have made, heard items that are not land use related when there was a time sensitive issue. Christine, did you want to add anything to that, or?
No, that's absolutely fine. We'll also supplement it with a written memo so that you have that information in advance.
Okay, thank you. All right, if there are no other future issues, we're adjourned. Thank you.